Hey YouTube, Mark with Ultimate RC on the channel. I've mentioned this plane a couple of times, but I've been mentioning a lot of planes lately. This is the Hobby King Avios Albatross. I believe this is like a 1.6 meter. I don't remember if the directions actually have a dimension on that, but it's slightly bigger than my Turbo Timber Evolution. This is going to be a maiden flight today. We're going to put this up. Pretty cool looking plane. I really like the livery on this, the Coast Guard livery. This should have great visibility on it. This also does have navigational lights on it. I do have reverse thrust set up today, but no differential thrust. I may tinker with that later. We'll see. But honestly, for me and my flights out here, the reverse thrust is more important. Running a Spectrum 6-channel receiver on an AR631. We're going to put this up today. And I also am affiliated with Hobby King. So if you use our links for anything that you purchase with them, it does help support the channel. We don't ever get planes or anything sent to us. We've never really had anything sent to us. So that's the only way we can support the channel. I do appreciate that. Like and subscribe, hit the bell. After a long 4th of July weekend that was hot and then really rainy and very windy, on the morning we're ready to leave, we have really nice conditions. So we're gonna try and get this up. Stick tight, YouTube. All right, YouTube, we've got the Avios Albatross here. So we're going to be doing a 4S flight on it today. This is the first flight here, and if we get a chance to do two, we may. This is a 3300 RC batteries, something like 40C or 60C, I think. Something, one that I use in my 1.2 meter Warbirds is a nice fit for this plane. We'll get this in the water. All right. And we'll get to test out our reversing thrust. We should be able to back up. Throttle cuts off. There we go. A must-have for any float plane. Rudder seems to work pretty well. I'm gonna have to switch the, let's see here. And you know what? My rudders are backwards. We're gonna bring it back around. A little taxiing. Should be going right, but I'm going left, so I'm gonna have to fix that. I have to admit that the setup on this was a little tedious. It's a nice model, but I had some issues with the leads on for setting up the transmitter. Not long enough for where I wanted to put it. I didn't want to attach it to the bottom of the wing. So keep that in mind. Throttle cut is on. I'm going to make an adjustment to this. It will be right back. All right, YouTube. We should be all set to go here. Got the rudder set to where it's supposed to be. Obviously, that's something you should be checking beforehand. I thought I did, but you know, it's a holiday weekend and you've got things going on, and we had friends up and stuff like that. Try to get stuff done in between. But always good to do a control check before you take off. All right, throttle cut is off. Let's see if we can. That rudder's pretty efficient. I like that right off the bat. Again, no differential thrust set up for this. Just the reverse. All right, I'm gonna get in position here. Like and subscribe, hit the bell. Part-timer is here today. We're gonna get maiden flight on this. Had this for a bit. Just have either not had the ability to get this set up, and then the weather has not necessarily cooperated. We'll put some takeoff flaps in. Book says full back elevator until she gets up on step. All right, like and subscribe, here we go. Gradual power being applied. Here we go. All right, we're up. Flaps are up. You hear those twins humming. I'm about 50% power there, so that was a very gradual takeoff. All right, flying nice and safe at the moment. That was a safe takeoff. We're gonna bring it out of safe here again, about 50% power. Just wanting to climb a little bit. We're gonna bring it around. All right, I think what I'm gonna do here, a little touchy, I'm gonna go into my mid race. That was high race, which I think is about 20-25% expo. I've seen a lot of people go with 30 on this. That's what I'm gonna put mine in. That's my mid race setting. We'll bring it around here. We're gonna come by the dock. I really like the livery on this, the Coast Guard livery. That's great visibility on this plane. It'll be interesting to do some evening flights with this. We've got Pelicans in the area. They're kind of interesting how they're following this. They're certainly attracted to it because it's about the size of a pelican. Pelicans up here, I don't know what type they are. I've mentioned this before, we've not always had pelicans up here. They've been coming here for about the last 15-20 years. We're gonna put it up. Pretty nice roll rate on it for a big plane. Let's go up with it again. Full throttle. Not much of a stall turn. Bring it around. Unfortunately, not going to be able to land into the wind today. We've got pretty much gone east here with the wind, so we're going to be dealing with a crosswind. Not a big deal when you have a whole lake to land on. Let's try some touch and goes here.
Takeoff flaps.
Bit of a balancing trick to keep those, trying to keep those wings level while you're landing. Not bad though. Again, we are affiliated with Hobby King on this. I'm not affiliated with Horizon. Asked, I'm not big enough. That's okay. But if you do use our links for Hobby King, anything that you do purchase whether it's this plane, which I think at the moment is out of stock. That was a pretty nice landing right there. Non-safe takeoffs and landings right now. But again, if you use the links for anything that you purchase with Hobby King, of course, they're running sales all the time. Anything you purchase, of course, helps support the channel. We do appreciate that. Again, we don't get planes sent to us. So the only way we can fund that is fund the channel is with those links. Also, check out the Ultimate RC Swag Store. Mentioned that's been up and running. A little rough. Well, there's that one of those pontoons getting caught. All right, now I want to try practicing a safe approach once. We've had takeoff flaps the whole time here.
Flaps up.
Again, cruising around maybe about half throttle. And actually, we're going to probably have to bring this in for a land because I just expired a 5-minute timer. Not sure on the flight times on this, but that's what I set it up for.
Takeoff flaps.
Not bad. Pretty cool. I don't want to push the timer on this because, again, I don't know what the flight times are. That's one of the things I didn't really check out. Like how it taxis, though. Pretty responsive. With that water rudder, it's a nice design. It's plastic, clear plastic, so you can't really see it. But it does a great job. Again, no differential thrust on this, so this is all rudder doing this. And of course, I did that limited channels with a 6-channel, but again, I do have thrust reverse, and you can see that it is pretty effective in thrust reverse. Pretty pleased with the water handling on this plane just from this short flight. So there you have it. Let's taxi it into shore. Hope to get an evening flight on this too, because it does have nav lights. We'll bring it around. Again, hope to get some more planes on the channel. Still have the F-22. That's hopefully going to be my next build. I forgot to mention that I also have my second ever purchased free wing product, which is the B-25 bomber, the Mitchell. Pretty excited to have that too. We'll see how quickly we can do these. Again, we would normally be cranking out a couple videos a week. As I've mentioned in previous videos, life events, namely my father's illness, has kind of prevented us from doing a lot. She's gonna, just like any other plane, weather vane into the wind. Let's see if we can get it back around. We'll see if we can back it in here. All right, YouTube, so stick tight, like and subscribe. We'll see if we can get one more flight on here with a smart battery, 3200C. Stick tight, YouTube. Mark with Ultimate RC. Hey, YouTube, just wanted to show you real quick where I've got the smart battery positioned here for the second flight. So it's a little farther forward than where I had my RC batteries. This is what I used for the first flight. We'll do a battery check when we land. But I just wanted to show you CG on this. Pretty easy to CG out this plane. So basically it's right behind the first set of circles on the wing. I think that's about 65 millimeters back. I don't remember exactly what the book says. Just grab that. There we go. As you can see, she's pretty level. It's pretty easy to CG this plane, which is nice. Seems to balance out great. We're gonna do a second flight here. Let's get in the water. Should easily be able to do about a 5-minute flight. We'll do a battery check on the smart battery when we get in, and I'll show you where the other one wound up being after my slightly over 5-minute flight. We're kicking the thrust reverse here. Oop. I have to reverse my switch. All right, here we go. Again, part-timers here recording. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. I do appreciate that. Again, affiliated with Hobby King, so anything that you purchase through them does help support the channel, whether it's this plane or anything else. Nice thing about Hobby King is they almost always have something on sale. So if you don't necessarily want this plane right now, and I don't think you can get it at the moment, I believe it's out of stock. This is a popular plane. So when you do see it in stock, and especially if it is on sale, you want to grab it. Again, very popular plane, and I'm learning very quickly for good reason. All right, here we go. So this is going to be a safe takeoff. Full back elevator, gradual application of power. Have to get a little bit better on the rudder management, but not bad. We'll take that. I know some people have had some issues with takeoff on this plane so far. Out of the few that I've had, I have not. Currently in safe. Most of the first flight we were out of safe, but I wanted to check safe and see how it was doing here. A little bit of a... I haven't had this plane totally trimmed out. I did get the elevator trimmed out pretty well. I think we're going to have to do more with the roll. I'm probably not going to mess with that today. Of course, it had to calm down the day that we're leaving, which tends to be what happens up here for us. 4th of July weekend, very warm. Then went to very rainy and very windy. It was actually windy for almost all the weekend up until today. This is by far the calmest conditions we've had. So we got flaps up. Full power. Pretty impressive for a big plane. Again, I think this is the largest plane that I have. I think this is slightly larger than the Turbo Timber and of course my 1.5 meter Mustang. Those are both 1.5s. Man, those twin motors howl. That's pretty cool. Still flying in mid rates. Let's see if we can line up for I'm going to try to do a full throttle pass here by the dock. Let's bring it around. Again, really like the Coast Guard livery. All right, here we go. She likes to climb in full throttle. That's pretty good. Out of curiosity, I probably want to do a, maybe we'll do a speed test on this at some point. Not something you normally do with a big plane, but I'm pretty impressed by the performance of this so far. Full throttle here again. Love the howl. That's pretty cool. Again, pretty good roll rate. Sorry, part-timer, if that was close to the sun. We're coming down. Attracted some pelicans again. All right, let's practice some more.
Takeoff flaps.
Touch and goes here. No safe. AS3X on. Whoa, yeah. And, oh great, I lost the float. Okay. I really didn't want to get out of kayak. Why am I always getting out of kayak up here? The water is really low. It is probably maybe waist deep out there, and ooh, that's a problem. Let's see if we can get it to come around. They're going to have to bring it in. There we go. We're going to have to see if we can keep it on that float. I had one of the floats I had an issue with trying to assemble it. Apparently, it's still not attached well. It came off on me once during assembly. We're going to bring this in, and then I'm probably going to have to rush in and put on some swim trunks real quick. I'm going to be doing a lot of walking because that float is not traveling to the east or to the west like it should be, because we pretty much have an east wind. Apparently that's switching. We're just going to bring it straight in. All right, throttle cuts off. I believe the nose is plastic, which is nice. I should say throttle cut is on, which you have to be very careful on this plane because it is hard to grab. You're basically grabbing right in between the props. All right. Stick tight, YouTube. I do want to do a battery check once we're all set and done, but I have to go retrieve a float. So we'll pause and come back. All right, YouTube, so post-flight here, I just wanted to do a battery check and see where we're at. Now, we only flew, I think there's about a couple minutes left on the timer already, so this battery ought to have plenty of juice in it. And you know what? I can't even check it anyways because this is Gen 2, and my battery checker is not going to check that. So, we're going to check this one, which we never did. This was from the first flight. We actually got a 5-minute flight on it. Look at that, 43% left. So it easily could have done another minute and maybe longer depending upon where you like to store your batteries. I usually go a little below 3.8 because they'll bounce back. So I think you could easily set like maybe a 6-minute timer. We'll have more flights on the channel on this because it seems to be a pretty good flying plane, and I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with that one loose float to see what I can do to fix that. So there you have it, YouTube. Like and subscribe, hit the bell. I do appreciate the support again. Check our links for Hobby King. Check Ultimate RC Swag Store. I do appreciate the support. Like and subscribe. Mark with Ultimate RC.